This terrifying beast roamed the earth over 200 years ago, terrorizing a rural region of France and killing off more than 100 of its residents. If you've never heard the story of the Beast of Gévaudan, sit down, buckle up, because this is a wild ride. Our story begins on June 30th, 1764, when this 14-year-old girl, Jeanne Boulet, was tending her flock of sheep in the quiet countryside. It was an ordinary day, or so she thought, until a shadow emerged from the trees, and before anyone could react, Jeanne was viciously attacked and killed by what witnesses described as a wolf-like creature. But this wasn't just any wolf, this was something far more terrifying. Now, Jeanne's attack wasn't the first. Just a few months earlier, another young woman barely escaped with her life after being ambushed by the same beast while tending her cattle. And soon after these two attacks, the creature began its journey west, settling near the Gévaudan region, which is now southern France. Life in Gévaudan was already hard. The villages were remote, small, and struggling to survive on farming and livestock. But when the beast began its relentless attacks, life as they knew it came to a halt. The villagers were terrified. They locked their doors, barred their windows, and refused to go out after dark. The fear was so intense, and for good reason, because between 1764 and 1767, the Beast of Gévaudan killed over 100 people. Most of the victims were women and children, and the attacks were unlike anything the villagers had ever seen. They were brutal, savage, and terrifyingly deliberate. It did not seem like this creature was killing for food or survival, because most of its victims were left partially eaten with limbs and heads scattered far from the body. It was almost as if this creature enjoyed the fear it brought the villagers. Witnesses who managed to catch a glimpse of the beast described it as massive, sometimes as big as a horse or a calf, with reddish-gray fur and a black stripe running down its back. It had a long, panther-like tail, and unlike typical wolves, it hunted alone. Some even claimed it could walk on its hind legs, and it had these large, talon-like claws. The terror grew so intense that King Louis XV himself intervened, sending his mountain infantry to hunt the beast. For months, they scoured the countryside alongside local villagers, but the creature evaded them at every turn. They could not catch this thing. In a desperate attempt to lure it out, some men even dressed as women, hoping to trick the beast into attacking them so they could catch it, but their efforts failed, and after 7 months of relentless hunting and no results, the king's troops withdrew. By then, the story of the beast spread far beyond Gévaudan. Newspapers were running stories, and they included not only illustrations of the beast, but also some very unflattering portraits of King Louis XV. And because of that, the entire thing turned political. People all over the world mocked France, calling them weak and unable to handle a single animal. With the overwhelming pressure of the situation, the king decided to take action. First, he rewarded a teenager, Jacques Portefeuille, who had led a group of children into this daring battle against the beast after it attacked one of their friends. Thankfully, the children survived, but so did the beast. Next, the king placed a hefty bounty on the beast's head. It attracted hunters from across the country and even beyond, but no one succeeded. Finally, the king turned to Francois Antoine, this skilled hunter and close friend, and in the summer of 1765, Francois took up the challenge. Around the same time, a young woman named Marie-Jeanne Villette and her sister were attacked by the beast while crossing a bridge, and in a moment of incredible bravery, Marie-Jeanne drove a spear into the beast's chest, but it escaped once again. Francois was under a lot of pressure. He knew he had to deliver results, and it would have been incredibly embarrassing to return to the king empty-handed. So by mid-September 1765, he and his men killed a massive wolf, unlike any they had ever seen. They declared it the beast, and Francois brought it to Marie-Jeanne and her sister, who both confirmed it looked a lot like the beast that had attacked them. The beast was sent to Versailles, where it was stuffed and presented to the king. Francois was declared a hero, but not everyone was convinced. No remains were found in its stomach, and the area where it was killed didn't match the locations of the earlier attacks. Francois himself had doubts, and he stayed in the region for weeks to ensure the attacks had truly ended. And for a while they did, but by December of 1765, the beast had claimed another victim. By then, the king had moved on. He was preoccupied with personal losses, including the death of his son, so without the king's involvement, the case lost its national attention, and Gévaudan was left to fend for itself. The attacks continued for nearly 2 more years. Then, in June 1767, a young farmer named Jean Chastel decided enough was enough. After yet another attack, Jean gathered a group of men, tracked the beast into the woods, and killed it. And this time, the attack stopped for good. The beast's remains were examined, paraded around, and eventually sent to Versailles, but by then, the body had decomposed, and the stench was reportedly so bad that the king ordered it removed. Even the naturalist at Versailles barely studied it, and its final resting place remains unknown. Jean Chastel was never formally recognized as the hero by the king, but history remembers him as the one who ended the nightmare in Gévaudan. As for the beast, its true identity remains a mystery. Theories about what the beast could have been have circulated for years and have ranged from a large wolf to a hyena, a werewolf, or even a human serial killer dressed in some kind of wolf costume. Now, the theory of a hyena is actually very interesting because some pictures of this beast resemble a striped hyena, and it wasn't uncommon for wealthy individuals, people from high society, to keep exotic animals as pets and in their own private collection, though it was entirely possible that someone's hyena escaped. But hyenas rarely attack humans. Without proper preservation or study of the beast remains, we may never know what it truly was. Do you think this was a wolf, some kind of otherworldly supernatural being, a striped hyena, a serial killer in a wolf costume? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments, and while you're there, let me know what other topics you would like to see me cover. Until then, I look forward to seeing you in another video.